YouTube World back at it once again, Instant Classic 8. I know last time I was on here, I said the next time I wanted to speak about AEW, which is still true. That video is still going to come, but I'm going to talk pretty in depth about that, and I want to leave that specifically for tomorrow. But I did want to speak on something that I just saw earlier today. This is a tweet from Kevin Kelly, the lead announcer for New Japan Pro Wrestling. He tweeted this about 5 days ago. I actually didn't see it just until earlier today, and I definitely thought it was interesting. I had a quick opinion on it. He says, "I wish more fans watch New Japan Pro Wrestling, specifically for what we bring on the English commentary side. I thought for the G1 matches tonight had everything a wrestling fan would want. Lance Archer was great as an analyst, blood, passion, excitement in the ring." I didn't catch which day he was referring to. The G1, which I've been watching, while I think it's definitely gotten better over the course of this past week, it definitely dragged for like the first 10 shows, just to be honest with you. But again, I'm not really sure what show he's referring to. But again, the shows recently have been really good. But I definitely thought that this was interesting that he put this out. I know that the height that New Japan saw, at least from what we see on our side as Westerners, the height for New Japan was probably like your, 2015 to about 2019 is where you saw the height, at least again here in the West. I started watching New Japan Wrestle Kingdom of 2013, so that was Wrestle Kingdom 7, and I've been watching ever since. And just me being a Westerner and seeing like the popularity grow as already being a fan, it was really cool to see. But it's definitely died down over the last couple of years. You just look at what has happened, mainly which I don't necessarily agree. I enjoyed New Japan without those guys, but like your core guys for the elite, Kenny Omega, Hangman Page, Cody, Young Bucks, all those guys going away and going to AEW definitely hurt for a lot of foreigners. 'Cause I know a lot of people came over and started to watch New Japan when the Bullet Club got hot and everything, and those guys were very much a key into that, and obviously their storyline that they had was amazing, and it captured the imagination of a lot of people, and it was really cool to see. But when those guys went to AEW, I definitely think that you had a lack of that type of star power for foreigners. Again, I think it hurt a lot, but I felt 2019 was, at least for me as a fan, one of the best years that company had without those guys. I thought there were plenty match of the year contenders. The shows were awesome. It was really exciting to see just like the progression of a lot of the stories that they've been laying the groundwork on for the past couple of years. So I was still into it, but the pandemic, like every other company, it hit them hard, man. And I feel like they still haven't recovered. Specifically, I think the number one reason why you're not going to see a lot of people talking about the shows and watching the shows are the clap crowds. We've had clap crowds for over 2 years now, and I think a lot of fans have, the ones that potentially stuck around even during like 2020 and watching some of those clap crowds. I think a lot of those people maybe grew restless, especially when you see, the WWE and AEW and all these other companies start to have crowds in there, not just have crowds, but you have crowds that could be able to make noise and be a part of the show. In New Japan, you just haven't had that, and it's definitely suffered a lot for the quality of the shows, the quality of the matches, even though we've seen amazing matches since then. Like, again, some of the best matches I've ever seen with these clap crowds, we've still seen them, but you can only wonder how they would have been if you had your standard New Japan crowd. And even for me, I've gotten used to the clap crowds, but you still just like, damn, like you watch Dynamite and the crowds are on fire, it's just like, I would love to see that in New Japan, but obviously, Japan has their laws, and you can't really break that stuff. And, at first I was wondering, was it more of like, New Japan deciding this or Japan? And from what I've seen is that because New Japan runs so heavy as far as a touring company, and that's like the bread and butter of like their company and making money, that they'd much rather be able to pack the place as much as possible and not have any crowd noise versus going at 15-20% capacity and allowing noise. So when I heard that, that definitely makes sense for sure. But as a fan, it definitely sucks, man. It sucks heavy that these crowds haven't been able to make any noise. And you watch these shows and you can hear them. Like, there are times when the matches heat up or something happens where you can a little bit, you can hear them for sure, but you just know that these people are just ready to go. And it's really again, it's gotten old at this point. I'm still watching New Japan. I still love it, but it's gotten old, and you're ready to see some changes happening. So hopefully that does. Another reason, and this is maybe just for me, but another reason why I think you haven't heard a lot about New Japan, especially from the Westerners, is the availability is not as convenient as you'd hope it would be. New Japan, when I started watching this, I was ordering pay-per-views on Ustream. I ordered Wrestle Kingdom and New Beginning, and I ordered 2 G1s, over $100 each, ordering on Ustream and watching these streams, and Japanese only, but I was a fan. I was enjoying it. And then the advent of the network, or the New Japan World, came along, and awesome, like $10, less than $10 a month for this amazing wrestling live, even the stuff in the archive, a bunch of documentaries. Really cool to see. That has been almost 8 years, and it feels like we haven't really gone anywhere since. I think that the ease of the website has gotten a little bit better, especially when you're trying to sign up for the first time, or if you want to cancel or something like that. I feel like a lot of that stuff has gotten easier. I've gotten used to being able to figure out how to search for certain stuff, search for certain matches and shows. I've gotten used to it. But the experience for when you look at these other companies who have streaming services and the availability of these apps, and New Japan still not having a functioning app, it's very disheartening. Like, the only app that they have is the Amazon Fire app, and it barely works. Like, I have the Fire TV. I bought the little Fire Stick 4K like a year or so ago, specifically to watch New Japan, and it is just the most tedious way to use an app. You have to log in like every 2 or 3 times that you go to the application. It's not user friendly with finding what if you need, especially in the archives. No, not at all. Like, that was an experience I only used when I watched live New Japan, or if like the match had just the show had just happened, I can get it to it on the front page. Other than that, I didn't think it was intuitive. It was slow, even though Fire is not the quickest device already. But even then, on top of that, the app itself, the New Japan World app, was just awful. And I've tried that app on a smart TV, and it looks like crap because it's like zoomed in, and this has been an issue for apparently like over a year. And it's just like, come on, man. Like, it is 2022. How do you guys not have a functioning app? I'm not trying to crap on them at all, but if anyone has ever used Impact Plus, that is a functioning app. I have signed up, I don't pay monthly, but, occasionally I'll give them $7, $8 for a month. I want to go through the archives of Impact and like the pay-per-views and everything. And the app works just fine. It has no problem. It works. You can find stuff, and there's no frills about it. It's link, shows, watch, boom. And I don't understand how New Japan has not figured that out. How have they not outsourced that from someone here in the States to be able to create a platform for them, so you can have it on your Xboxes or your PlayStations, or I use Apple TV. Like, an app on there would be amazing. Again, the only ways you can really watch it is through the website, and it's not the most convenient way. Like, I have an Xbox One S, I think I have, because the PlayStation doesn't have any browser on it. So the Xbox specifically, all I really do is watch New Japan on there, and the website works, but it would be really nice if I could just have an app that you can easily be able to go to and be able to find stuff and save stuff. And I don't know, man. It's I think there's a couple of reasons why your Western fans, at least that's I assume he's referring to, like that they haven't been into New Japan. And again, I think it's the clap crowds, and I think it's the availability and use of the streaming service. I think if those two things got improved, at least, man, I think that will help them out tremendously. The other thing that I would say that's probably the hinder for them is the availability of foreign talent. I think when you have the mix of foreign talent along with the core New Japan guys, I think that's when you have a really, really strong product to watch. We've kind of seen a little bit in reverse with that, like the New Japan guys coming over to AEW and being a part of that mix. And that's really awesome to see. Granted, I love the core AEW guys, but being able to bring those foreigners into the mix, something like we saw with like Forbidden Door, super cool to see. And again, I think that's how you're going to get a lot of those fans back, is getting those foreigners, those top foreigners over there. So when you can get a Claudio Castagnoli, a Bryan Danielson, if you can get Jon Moxley to go back to Japan, maybe in the future CM Punk or whoever, like that's when you're gonna get Chris Jericho, Kenny Omega. Like this is when you're gonna get those fans to come back. And I think there's just little things that need to be done. Again, something like it's not really out of their control, but it's not really in their control, but the clap crowds, eventually those are gonna go away. Hopefully they can get some type of functioning app to make it easy for these people to be able to watch these shows. And again, I think the foreign talent, once they can start to go back over there quite often. Again, we've seen it recently. We've got some guys in the G1, guys in the Best of Super Juniors. It's really cool to see. And I think if you get an influx more of that and some of your top talent, I think those fans are going to start to go back. But let me know what you think. Again, I think New Japan's been doing really well, even with the restraints of the crowd. I think they've been doing really well. I've been enjoying the G1. I'm looking forward to the finals later on this week. But let me know what you think. Until then, Instant Glass Gate. Peace.